Hey everybody, day 20 of our math time. We're going to finish up Jerry Plato's How Fast It Is book today. Ooh, and look, we're talking about going to the moon. The Apollo command and the service modules. What is the fastest any creature from Earth has ever gone? Well, the Apollo astronauts who flew to the moon and back traveled at more than 24,000 miles per hour. And someday, astronauts will travel to another planet. A spaceship to Mars would travel at more than 100,000 miles per hour. Are you ready to go? Mommy and Uncle Holly and Uncle Chaz and Aunt Holly could have become astronauts because they are Navy pilots. They didn't choose that route, but it was an option. So, books don't move at all unless someone picks them up. Books are stationary. That means they stay in one place. They go 0 miles per hour. So please pick one up and get it to moving. How fast is it? All right. Great estimations. How many penguins? What do you think? What would be a good guess? Well, this is a penguin is called a colony. The group of sheep is called a herd. So what people do to make a guesstimate of a crowd is they grid it, and then they count how many are in one grid. There are 12 penguins in this group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They make 10 times 10. 10 groups 10 is 100. So there are about 100 boxes and about 12 penguins in each box. So about 120 penguins in a group of 10. But now we need 100 of them. So about 1,200. There we go. So that's one way you can figure things out, is you can make a grid, count, and make an estimate. It's not important to know exactly how many there are. Buttons. Red buttons, green buttons. If I make a little box in each area and count and then do grids again, I can kind of figure out about how many there would be. What about the pile of rice? Well, I could maybe count this many, and if I grid it out, I could make an estimate. If there were 100 grains of rice in that square, and I had 100 squares, 100 times 100 is a 1 with 4 zeros behind it. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000. I mean, there'd be about 10,000 grains of rice. What do you think? Often people put candy in a jar and tell you to guess how many there are. And they're going to give a prize to the person who guessed best. So if I look at one layer and make a guess and think there are 10 or 20 layers, then I can take my best guess. If I thought there was 100 on one layer and 10 layers, that'd be 1,000. If there are 20, there'd be 2,000. I might be able to win a jar of candy. So, how many people in the swimming pool? Do you want to draw a circle or a box? Do you want to make a grid? How could you estimate how many people are in the swimming pool? How many Cheerios are in a box? You could do it by doing great estimations. Hey, we finished 2 books today. We're not ready to finish our money book yet. So this is what the actual gold looks like in the U.S. Treasury in Fort Knox. It's a highly guarded area, and you can't go there. But how much money is there in circulation in the United States? Approximately $215 billion in coins and bills. That's much money in $1 bills. It would, if you had that out, it would fill the World Trade Center buildings in New York City. The longest single deposit of gold is worth about $140 billion. Most of it's owned by foreign countries. Gold is locked in a vault that's buried 80 feet underground and is half the size of a football field. The gold is shaped in bars, and each bar is about the size of a skinny brick. Most of America's gold is in Kentucky in a place called Fort Knox. And it looks like that. No, although Fort Knox is where the United States stores most of its gold, Fort Knox is an army base in Kentucky. And the gold in Fort Knox belongs to the U.S. government. Originally, the government stored gold because U.S. dollars were backed in gold. That means you could bring paper money to a bank and exchange it for the equivalent amount of gold. That's no longer true. But the government continues to guard the gold because it has so much value. About that. All right. We're going to start. Jerry Pilata's. How big is it? Whoa. It's a very tall man, and that is a very large polar bear. This illustration are done by Rob Bolster, and we've seen him do a lot of illustrations with Jerry Pilata. How big is it? I'm big. How big are you? Are you the biggest person in your class or in your house? Well, you are getting bigger. This is a very big man playing football. Today, Grandpa's going to be watching the Kansas City Chiefs game. So how do we measure big? We can measure in height, or weight, or width. Some things are just big, really big, large, huge, humongous, gigantic. This man is a lineman in the National Football Field. He is 6 feet 10 inches tall and 3 feet 6 inches wide. That's really big. So if you would get out a measuring tool, how tall are you and how wide are you at your shoulders? That's usually your widest point. Grandma is 5 feet 4 inches tall. Aunt Lisa is 5 feet 4 inches tall. Aunt Holly is 5 feet 3 inches tall. And Aunt Heidi is 5 feet 2 inches tall. Uncle Peter is about 5'10" and a half. Grandpa is about 5'10". Uncle Chaz is a little taller. He's about 5'10" and a half. Uncle Klaus is taller still. He's about 6'2". And Uncle Adam is the tallest of the uncles. He's 6'5". But Grandma's little brother, Uncle Brad, is the tallest in our family. He's 6'7". When you think about how tall, you can think about those things. Zeta's pretty tall too. She's about 6 foot tall. All right. Weights and measures. We're just going to read a little bit of this book every day, too, because there's so much information and so much for you to learn. Welcome to Weights and Measures. Here are some words you need to know. Foot, inch, gallon, pint, cup, mile, meter, centimeters. So many words that talk about measuring. A foot. How do you know how big a foot is it? Is it the same size as an elephant foot? Or a kid's foot? Or a chicken foot? Or Uncle Brad's foot? That's why we have a thing called a ruler. It has the same thing on every one that's ever been made in the last at least few hundred years. An inch is a standard measure. It used to be, we would say an inch is about from the tip of your thumb to the first joint. But Grandpa's thumb is a lot bigger than Grandma's, so it's a guesstimate. Kind of like when we've been estimating. It's about an inch. If you put 12 of these together, you have a foot. That's because a long time ago, most men's feet were about 12 inches. So you would use your foot to measure things. So in the United States, in England, and a few places like that, we use inches and foot. feet. A lot of other places use what we call the metric system. It's groups of tens, centimeters and meters. But we use a 12-inch ruler. An inch is this long, and it's about the width of those little candy bars that Hershey makes. And if we put 12 of them together, we would have a foot. Why don't you see if you can find a ruler and see if you can find some things that measure an inch and a foot today. All right. Vroom, beep, vroom, crash. This is by Stuart J. Murphy, illustrated by Chris Demarest. Beep, beep, vroom, vroom. What color cars do you see there? These are what we call our primary colors, blue, red, and yellow. From them, you can make all the other colors. And we've done some experiments with that. Vroom, beep, beep. Beep, 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 go the yellow cars. Vroom, 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 go the red cars. Crash, 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 go the blue cars. How many red cars do you see? How many yellow? How many blue? At a quick glance, do they all look like they're about the same? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. 3 piles of 4 different cars. Or 4 cars of each of the 3, sorry. Cars are fun, said Kevin, for big kids to play with. I like cars, said Molly. You're too little to play with my cars, said Kevin. That's not true. He just doesn't want to share at the moment. Whoa! Look what he did with his cars. Kevin called Mom. It's your turn to set the table. Oh, Mom, grumbled Kevin. He carefully lined up the cars on his shelf. When I come back, Kevin told Molly, I want to see my cars just the way I left them. What pattern did he make? Red, blue, yellow, red, blue, yellow, red, blue, yellow, red, blue, yellow. He made a really cool pattern. It's called an ABC pattern, or a 1, 2, 3 pattern. If I go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, all the 1s look the same, and all the 2s look the same, and all the 3s look the same. Uh-oh. Molly waited until Kevin went downstairs. Vroom, vroom, zoomed the red cars. Honk, honk, said the yellow cars. Crash, bang, said the blue cars. Dad heard lots of vrooming, crashing. Molly, you know you shouldn't play with Kevin's cars unless you ask. Let's put them right back where we found them. He always lines his cars up in a special way. Uh-oh, did Dad do it the right way? 2 blue, 2 yellow, 2 red, 2 blue, 2 yellow, 2 red. He did do a 1, 2, 3 or an ABC pattern, but was that the one Kevin used? Not quite. He started with blue and he put 2 of each together. Makes a good pattern, but that's not quite the one Kevin used. Crash, bang went the blue cars. Beep, beep went the yellow cars. Vroom, vroom went the red cars. Mom heard all the crashing and banging. Molly, you've made a big mess of Kevin's cars. Can you help me put them back up? He always lines them up a special way. 2 reds and a yellow, 2 blues and a yellow, 2 reds and a yellow, 2 blues and a yellow. Hey, that's a really cool pattern. Is that the one Kevin used? Not quite. Beep, beep went the yellow cars. Vroom, vroom went the red cars. Crash, crash went the blue cars. Now Digger heard the beeping and crashing. Woof! Digger barked. Woof, woof. Digger gave Molly lots of kisses. Come on, Paige, turn. Molly, cried Kevin from the kitchen, you better not be playing with my cars. Molly put the cars back on the shelf as fast as she could. She heard Kevin coming up closer and closer. Uh-oh. Well, is it an ABC pattern or 1, 2, 3 pattern? Yellow, blue, red, yellow, blue, red, yellow, blue, red. Ooh. That is a good ABC pattern. But is that the one Kevin used? Uh-oh, Molly. You're going to get caught. When Kevin walked in the door, he found his cars just the way he left them. Red, blue, yellow, red, blue, yellow, red, blue, yellow, red, blue, yellow. Molly figured it out. Vroom, vroom, beep, beep, crash, crash. Maybe someday you'll be old enough to play with my cars, Molly, said Kevin. Molly made some good patterns, and she figured out Kevin's special pattern. Surprise, Molly, said Mom. She was standing in the doorway. We were gonna wait until your birthday to give these, but we think you're old enough to have them all. Now, Molly smiled at the shiny new cars. Honk went the green cars. Vroom, vroom went the purple cars. Crash. She has her own set. Vroom, vroom, beep, beep.